Yeah.
I was just going to say something about that sequence where his wee boy comes out into the swing and is playing on the swing with his friend, and there's a rather agonising moment where he's on the chair and the window's behind him and the child's playing on the swing and he can't be with the child. And I guess those little moments felt like they made all the difference. Because in a way the whole film is about time. And so, like any filmmaker, how we use time becomes so unbelievably crucial. And so there's different ways of using time going on in the film all the time. There's this abstracted time, but this very real time where things unfold. We had to always be so alert to how we build a sequence around that unfolding and what it says. So it's not just a sequence of a boy playing outside, but somehow, I had to move really quickly while I was filming to, okay, this is kind of meaningless if it's just a shot of you playing. But if Neil's in the foreground and you're there, then it becomes meaningful. So I guess it's all the time thinking how time makes things meaningful in terms of a sequence.
And story-wise also, you are connecting 3 generations.
Yes.
That's Oscar, father, grandfather.
Yeah.
Then this somehow you connect this, that is so important also story-wise, This is kind of a disease, hereditary, might be really impacting Oscar also.
Yes.
And then you go to the, again, home videos.
Yes.
The father, the parties, and when you see that it's playing with so somehow we go back, to the memories, recorded memories, and we can really reconnect. And the whole issue of 3 generations, somehow it's being spun and connected, And it's the scene is quite, the anxiety also he expressed, earlier, in terms of, and you also know that it is something that can really perpetuate through generations,
Yes.
and putting them together, it's quite a wonderful kind of way of bringing things together as a kind of integrated whole,
Yes, which I think is what...
Using time and memories together.
Yeah, which I think is what the blog does and what that allows. But
that blog, actually, it was later on you did with that. Time is passing very fast,
yes. But this is just one thing I wanted to say. We were really struggling with our edit, and I'm sure many of you can sympathise with this, that you have all this material together and you have this... So we edit, first of all, the footage that we shot, we edit the home movies, and we also edit the blog. And we come up with this rough structure. And somehow, yeah, it kind of works and people are moved, but it's not quite working. And we can't quite work out how. And it feels like often in these moments, and with the other film that we saw yesterday also, it's the same. There's one little key that's missing. And it's always the most obvious thing, but you can't find it. And actually, that blog there is the key. That's why I wanted to show you this little bit. That blog that says the meaning of life and other questions. Somehow, that allowed Neil's dilemma to be our dilemma. Of, in a way, what memories of these moments with his friends, being daft or parties, laughing with his mother, whatever, these sort of meaningless moments suddenly become meaningful. And in a way, that sort of felt like it drew everything together. It's so simple, but somehow it feels like always there's just one little thing that you need to find or say that has that kind of layer of meaning or layer of depth that you're looking for. And what I found when I was making this and the other film is that actually you know, you think that you know what your film is about, but in fact you can never be in that position of knowing. It's a very dangerous position to know. And actually, you know, I feel like a feature needs so many more layers than you can possibly begin to imagine. And so many more explorations and questions than you can even begin to imagine too. So, yet again, coming back to the pitches that you're going to do, you know, I think that's why it's so good to discuss together. And it's certainly something I get so much from co-directing, which I do quite a lot, is that we can have these discussions and we can keep saying, what's it about? Oh, that's not enough. What else is it about? What else is it about? What else is it about? Until we find this key that hopefully can unlock other things. Because ultimately I think that we look at a film to understand ourselves better. And so it felt really important to have that, yeah.
Yesterday we saw your film, and today the clips, it's two different kind of films, you know. One is character driven, you know. And anytime we talk about documentary storytelling, it is like we talk about characters, we talk about, most of the time, 3 act, 5 acts. It's good and quite outdated also to me. That's you have to have a character, would be the vehicle of your stories, you know. And of course, there's an alternative filmmaking. So the two of our friends, Adrus and Boris, you know, they think differently. We also thought differently yesterday, you know. So it's a very simple and stupid questions. You don't have characters, you know. You don't have to build up so-called dramatic arc, you know. How do you tell stories then?
But I think it's the same question. I think it's actually the same process. Maybe with different ethical questions, but the same process of why am I doing this? Why am I picking up the camera in the first place? What's this about? What is it that I'm trying to understand? And really, not this question because I think it's the right question to ask, but really this kind of, I feel like until I can touch a question that's been keeping me awake for many nights, I'm not touching on the right thing for my film. So until it's so obvious, then it's not right. So I think when it became clear that it was this last film, this question of why have we lost our connection to nature? It's such a simple, stupid question, but somehow it was enough to start a journey. And I think as long as the question is really genuine enough and you hold on to it, I think it's so dangerous to try to please anybody and try to please funders. Or somebody asked me yesterday, oh, but how did you get funding for something that's so experimental? And I think the answer is don't try and please anybody. I think that's really an important thing to say, is, but having said that, you have to be so rigorous yourself. And I think with this film, I love essays. I love non-fiction. I love reading books that are essays. I like essays that are poetic. I love a filmmaking tradition that's an essay tradition, because I think it's capable of actually trying to articulate something of what's happening to us just now in the world. And so it felt like the only form for this was an essay. But it's a very similar process of constantly dealing with what you don't know. And I think touching uncertainty and dealing with that monster of uncertainty is what I think informs the process for me. I wish it was more comfortable. I really wish it was a more comfortable, easy process, but it doesn't seem to be. It just seems to be that you have to deal with this mystery all the time, all the way through.
I will. How long we are talking actually? What's the time now?
6.
Yeah?
Another 15 minutes.
15.
Maybe we should show a bit of the...
Yeah. So now I will show you a clip. Okay?
You show me a clip? Okay.
becoming animal? You're we just say
Get the lights off.